Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Process with
Jeremy.
and David. We are the two creatives behind Revolution Dance Theater, and we love to check in with you guys every once in a while and give you a sneak peek into the process of not just really building an organization, which I really want to kind of share with the people about a little bit about some of the things that we have going on about here. But I'm really kind of realizing that this whole podcast, as it takes shapes and these conversations that we have, is really the process of building a couple of other things as well. And that's really where I want to dive into today. But before we get too far, how was class today? Working with kids in the school?
Yeah, working at Chase Elementary School, teaching. It's been cool today. Today took a more intentional direction we took after that first class, but it was necessary. We changed the approach on just being intentional about making sure the students were just getting the bare minimum, getting the basic making shapes. I'm used to just teaching and trying to get all the information taught without stopping to check to see if what I am teaching is really sticking and they're getting the steps. I usually wait until the end and then go back into correct, but today we kind of stopped just on the first few 8 counts and we're just like, this needs to look like a lot better from the first 8, so we make sure everything else after that looks good. But yeah, just working on just a simple 8 count.
So then what I'm hearing is and maybe some past classes, you're able to get a lot more quantity in terms of let's get 4 or even 8 counts of 8, or how much of whatever of a song. But what you're saying is by being more intentional, you're not getting so much quantity. You only accomplished 1 8 today, but it was quality. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, from the second group it was a big jump as far as the quality of them actually making the shape, and the picture just looked a lot better with just the small amount of counts. It definitely looked better at the end.
So ultimately that was a win for you as a teacher. Walking away, it was more satisfying having the quality versus the quantity, right?
No, definitely. Yeah. Because it's something. Yeah, you want them to. Well, yeah, we had talked about wanting them to leave the class with something more than they came into the class with. So they definitely left with those corrections, better than if I would have never just kind of went on and finished all of it. So
that's really a good launch pad for what I really wanted to dive into conversation with you and share with everybody about is the power of being intentional. And it's something that we have said around here at RDT. We've got the shirts on the website. We talk about the power of intentional inclusion. But what, sort of we're doing with how I'm challenging every teacher to be more intentional with what you teach and how you teach. It's really coming from this place of us right now being more intentional about who we are. I think as more people take notice, as we produce more events, as we're able to do more things, we need to really be able to stop and make sure that we can answer the question, who is Revolution Dance Theater? And what really got me thinking about that was I had a homework assignment and I had to do some case studies, and long story short, I asked many different people, staff members, people who had just heard about us, our parents, current customers, and I asked them, who is RDT? And while there were certainly similarities, all of the answers were really different. And some of them, it's oh man, that's honestly if we're not intentional about telling people who we are, how can we expect them to know that? And I just thought that was really, really powerful, because I think that we can share and we can be more effective if we are all starting from the same place. or at least moving towards the same end goal.
That sounds good to me. Because because different things come to my mind. Like when I think about Revolution Dance Theater, like, and it was summer camp at one point, and then like just focusing on classes.
I don't think people
training and
realize
technique at one point.
one, how much Revolution Dance Theater has evolved, shifted, changed, and two, how much you have been a part of that, from like the very beginning, which has just been really, really cool. Well, not from the very, very beginning.
It was like a year and a half.
Yeah, of once we landed on Revolution Dance Theater. But I think when you look back though at all of the things all in the ways that we have changed, you can also see all of the things that have remained the same. And when we started as just this after school kind of like dance class, and then that evolved into a full-on summer camp, and the focus really wasn't on ballet at the time. Like we were doing still called Revolution Dance Theater. And then we started the Cincinnati Moves summer camp, and we even had like our attempt at football and baseball camp and things, and we let that go. We weren't good. But those relationships that we had that were formed, and what we were doing, and in the ways in which we were pouring into those kids even at that time, and then that growing into a full-on after-school program where we were able to serve hundreds of kids. And the place that had in people's lives was so much more than ever a dance class, ever a camp. Like people weren't coming to us for football. Like, let's be honest. Like even those kids that were not there for dance, they weren't really coming to us for the sports or coming to us for these things. But what we've continued to do as a sports camp, as an after school program, then as a dance class, and then evolving into the pre-professional, and now stepping into this arena with this professional company, and now with this academy and into these schools, what I was able to look back and see is how at each level, we're just intentional about helping move people, one, inspire community, all the way back to Cincinnati Moves. People were saying that they felt like they found a family. They felt like they found a place where they belong. And so knowing that community is a part of our DNA, and that's something that we can now be intentional about running after. And I'm excited to see how we can grow our community in doing things like this. But how we've always invested in people, and how we've always set a bar of moving you from wherever you are. I believe that you can go to your next level. And Revolution Dance Theater did that with discipline, did that with hard work, did that with setting expectations, did that with our costuming, did that with our production value, did that with our goals of getting into the Aronoff Center, did that in a city where it had been 16 years without a single African-American woman. And then we say we're going to establish then a Black ballet company right here in this city. And we're going to be intentional about including those people. And, when people say it couldn't be done, but you just had to be intentional about building that environment. And I just thought that was dope. And I just wanted to kind of check in with you because it was always already back in 2012, 2013.
It was like 2014.
Yeah.
Was when I
officially in there. And how's it look? I mean, to you, when you look back from being just, intern camp counselor out of Cincinnati State, turn camp counselor, turn all the things you are to this organization today. Like, what is that for you?
Yeah, it's cool seeing the progress. There's definitely lots of memories, field trips, a lot of ups and downs. It really hit me when you said the discipline, and I just remember being in one of our dance spaces at the time, and
you've been through so many spaces.
I definitely remember was like David always like really like demanded that type of respect and like expected that type of discipline. And sometimes the children will be really rowdy or might have never taken a dance class or just, didn't come for dance at all, just kind of came because it was like, summer camp or something else.
And
But
very cheap. Yeah. So parents just using it for
mhm.
glorified childcare. We're going.
And
Yeah.
then it'd be like 60 children, and then they're all, rowdy and everyone. And like, and David just, put his foot down. And I just remember being like intimidated because I didn't have like a whole lot of experience at the time. But I was even intimidated, and I was just in awe on like how he would get the room quiet and like how it just, I was just like, whoa, like this is like, it's something powerful. Like, so,
which is within
mhm,
itself, and we talked about this in an earlier episode,
mhm,
in which is what I love about what we're doing and why we're now, again, coming back to that word intention, why we're setting the intention for
mhm,
staff and teachers, and while I'm sharing it with the public,
mhm,
through this podcast, is because it, for me, was always starting with the end in mind. And,
mhm,
even
mhm,
back then, even when the
mhm,
vision was not to have a world class, ballet company or something like that one day,
mhm,
but the vision was simply, you know, Black kids should have a safe place to go after school,
mhm.
and that was it. So
Sure, for
setting
sure.
that intention. But
Mhm,
then a part of like trying to solve the problem is wondering why there is one, and
mhm,
seeing how people then perceive Black kids. Why
mhm,
aren't we creating these type of spaces and investing in them?
mhm,
And
mhm,
then
mhm,
so you historically, and you see how they've been called animals, and
mhm, mhm,
or they need to be medicated, or they need to be isolated, or and all of these things that we're doing now. And I try to
mhm,
make sure that we understand this.
mhm,
It is not normal, I
mhm,
think, to condition a child to believe that that they literally cannot function. Like,
like
I
they
am
can't.
ADHD as
They
well,
can't.
like, and medicine helps me. I'm not saying that medicine does not help things, but that
Mhm,
to condition a child to believe
mhm,
that you have no choice in the matter, to
mhm,
condition a child to believe that you are animalistic, and we call it ISS, or we call
mhm,
it a special study hall today.
mhm,
But I'm trying to get these kids to understand, in high school,
mhm,
like, those concessions look a lot different, and as an adult,
mhm,
those
mhm,
concessions look very different.
mhm.
And so, like,
Yep.
locking you away, and or
Mhm,
saying, if you cannot follow these simple instructions, like
mhm,
to just be still, or to just be quiet, or
mhm.
things.
Yep, yep,
um
yep, yep.
so when I walked into the room, what, over 10 years ago,
Mhm,
my mission was then to just show,
mhm,
like, again, yeah, we can have a safe and creative and fun and engaging place
mhm,
for Black kids, and we can keep all of these kids here, and
mhm,
we can do and discipline and teach differently and
mhm,
get different results. I remember once
mhm,
when I really messed up and saw the importance of it.
mhm,
And I made a ton of mistakes along the way,
mhm,
and in particularly with working with, figuring out how to build, character in these guys. But
mhm,
I tried to make an example of
mhm,
scaring the kid,
mhm,
and using what I said, like, in the future, like, it will be the police. And so I actually took them to a police station.
mhm,
Um,
mhm,
and, he was being really rowdy and really disrespectful, and I couldn't get a hold of his mom at the time. And so, we all in the van riled up, and we went to the police station. Long story short,
mhm,
his mom just really, like, tore into me, like, in a
mhm,
really, really deep way,
mhm,
because it hurt her
mhm,
to get a call that her son, even though he wasn't arrested, even though we didn't call the police, per
mhm,
se,
mhm,
that at this place, at
mhm,
that time, that she
mhm,
sent, that I would take him to the police,
mhm,
that I would introduce him to a jail cell to see what that looks like,
mhm,
to try to
mhm,
make that point. And it really got me thinking about, again, what was the intention? The intention was
mhm.
to keep them out of
Yeah.
places like that. The
Mhm,
intention was to
mhm,
like do it a different way.
mhm,
And And I felt like I was right at the time, but then like when I really walked back and saw what she was saying and learned that she had lost another son,
Mm.
and so like, and with the weight of that and knowing how the tensions between young African American men and law enforcement has been in this country, and for me to take her new son and invite him into that situation, man, it was just definitely a learning curve. But you see how the revised intention has made revolution more effective now. And I think what I want to continue to share and challenge with people is to know your why. Know why you're doing the thing. And the biggest thing that we can share from this step in the process is we continue to own in and zero in on our vision and our mission and the programming that we do. You'll see those changes happening for us, but I want to encourage you that the same thing can happen for you. Whatever that goal looks like, whether it's an education thing, set the intention. If it's losing the weight, set the intention. And today I intend to then do these things that's going to help me get there. And that is the process to success.
Yep. Gotta have a vision.